All right. Time to dive into this deep dive on the B&O visa. We've got your PDF right here from gov.uk. Looks like someone's thinking about a move to the UK. This document you sent, it's really the first step. So let's break down what it says about this visa. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, no kidding. This isn't your run-of-the-mill visa. It's specifically designed for people from Hong Kong,
Yeah.
with British national
Uptown.
overseas status.
B&O status. For short, we've got to keep it snappy.
Exactly, B&O status and their families.
So not just a quick trip to see Big Ben then.
Oh, no, no, no. This is a big one. This visa, it gives you the right to live, work, study the whole shebang in the UK. Like, it's a total life reset, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And the thing is, it's really deeply rooted in, recent history. Yeah, so this whole visa route, it was opened back in 2021, and it was a direct response to some political developments in Hong Kong.
So it was like offering a lifeline to people back in Hong Kong.
Exactly. It was the UK's way of providing a pathway to British life for those who, met the criteria. And get this, it even paves the way for permanent residency. Imagine that. You could actually settle down in the UK for good.
Wow.
Yeah, and after a certain number of years, you could even apply for British citizenship.
Now that's what I call a fresh start.
Right.
But okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This PDF, it lays out some pretty specific criteria for who actually qualifies for this thing. It's not as easy as just being from Hong Kong.
Oh, absolutely not. The document's very clear. You've got to prove you're a B&O, or a child of a B&O, born on or after, get this, July 1st, 1997.
July 1st, 1997. Okay, that date just seems awfully specific. Is there something special about it?
There is. It ties directly back to when Hong Kong was handed back to China by the UK.
Yeah.
The B&O status.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a unique category created back then. So this visa, it's like an extension of that whole historical connection.
Wow. So it's not just some random date. It's really intertwined with a pivotal moment in history.
Totally.
Okay, so having that B&O connection, that's key. But I noticed the PDF also mentions something about your permanent home needing to be in Hong Kong or the UK.
Right. That's another big piece of the puzzle. You can't just hold the status. You got to demonstrate a strong connection to either Hong Kong or the UK. The document even gets into specific locations within those places that qualify. They're really trying to make sure this visa is used by those who genuinely need it.
It's like they're saying, show us you're serious about making the UK home.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered who this visa is for, the historical context, and we've even touched on some of the eligibility criteria. But I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this document.
Oh, we're just getting started. We haven't even gotten to the part about bringing your loved ones along. I mean, can you imagine uprooting your life and moving to a whole new country? What about your partner, kids, even your parents? Can they come too?
Well, that's where things might get a bit more complicated.
A bit more complicated. It's a whole other ballgame. But yeah, we'll unpack those details because the document does say you might be able to bring those family members. But there are rules, of course. Each relationship, spouse, child, adult dependent, it all comes with its own set of requirements.
Sounds like those family ties could come with a whole other layer of paperwork.
You could say that again. And understanding those nuances, it's super crucial for anyone even thinking about making this move with their family.
Okay, so you're telling me bringing the family along on this B&O visa adventure, it's not as simple as, checking a box.
Oh, you got that right. This document, it goes deep. It lays out all these different scenarios, and each one has its own set of rules. It's kind of like...
like choosing your character class in a video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are you applying as the spouse, a dependent child, maybe an older relative who needs a bit more support? Each path has its own set of hurdles to clear.
And I'm guessing those hurdles usually involve proving your relationship is the real deal. No pretending to be someone's grandchild to snag a visa.
Right. Exactly. For partners, they really emphasize a legally recognized relationship. Marriage, civil partnership, that kind of thing.
Makes sense. Got to make it official.
Right. But, okay, let's say you've been together for ages, 2 years or more, but haven't tied the knot yet. You can still apply, but now you've got to demonstrate that commitment, prove it's the real deal.
Time to break out those couple selfies from your trip to Stonehenge.
Exactly. Think joint bank accounts, shared bills, anything that screams, we're in this together.
Gotcha. So, you've proven you're a genuine couple. What about the little ones? Bringing the kids along.
So for kids under 18, they usually need to apply alongside both parents.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but of course, life's never that simple, is it?
Never. There are always curveballs.
Always. So The document, it does mention some exceptions, like if one parent has sole responsibility for the child, or maybe one parent already has a B&O visa, or has the right to live in the UK, permanently British citizenship, for example.
So even if one parent doesn't quite fit the B&O mold, their kids might still have a shot.
Exactly. It's all about keeping families together. Now, for kids over 18, things get a little trickier. Remember that magic date, July 1st, 1997?
How could I forget? It's practically etched into my brain at this point.
Right. So if they were born on or after that date,
Yeah.
and their parent is a B&O, they might qualify as dependents. But if not, they're kind of on their own. Got to explore other options like work visas or student visas.
Wow, talk about a line in the sand. That date really makes a world of difference. Okay, so we've covered spouses, kids. What about older family members? Like, say, someone wants to bring their aging parents who need a bit of extra help.
Totally covered. The document uses the term highly dependent for those situations. And we're not just talking about needing a hand with the groceries here. We're talking long-term personal care, help with everyday tasks because of age, illness, disability, that kind of thing.
So less about financial dependency and more about needing that hands-on care that's like really hard to manage long distance.
Exactly. And you can't just say, oh, my mom needs help. They want proof.
Yeah.
The document clearly states you need solid evidence. Medical records, care plans, got to back up those care requirements.
It's all about proving it's a genuine need, not just a way to get the whole gang over to the UK.
You got it. And here's the kicker. You also need to prove that your relative can't get that same level of care back in Hong Kong, even with your help, even if you're paying for it. It's about making sure folks are coming to the UK with the means to build a stable life, not adding strain to, the system.
Right. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
The UK wants to provide support to those who qualify, but they've got to protect their resources too. Man, this is getting pretty real pretty quickly. We're talking about major life decisions here, and speaking of major, we haven't even touched on the elephant in the room.
Oh.
Money, honey. Because this document, it does not shy away from the cost of this whole shebang.
Oh, you were telling me. Those visa fees alone? Whoa, boy. And don't even get me started on the cost of living in the UK these days.
Yeah, let's dive into that because knowing the numbers is like half the battle when you're planning a move as big as this. So this PDF, it's basically like waving a giant flag, right? Like, hey, you, budgeting is your friend if you're thinking about this B&O visa because it lays out all those visa application fees.
Yeah.
And let's be real, we're not talking about pocket change here.
Not at all.
It starts at £180.
Just to start.
Right. And that's before we even get to this mysterious healthcare surcharge it keeps mentioning.
Oh, yeah, that healthcare surcharge. That's important. That's basically your ticket to using the UK's National Health Service.
The NHS?
The NHS. Exactly. It's like a yearly membership fee, but you pay it up front with your visa application.
Gotcha.
And trust me, it can add up pretty quick, especially if you're bringing, the whole family over.
Yeah, seeing those figures in the PDF, like for families, it really hits home.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking thousands of pounds per person, depending on how long you're planning to stay. It's a reality check for sure.
Absolutely.
If you think this is just a walk in the park, financially speaking.
You got to plan ahead, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I think those concrete examples they give in the PDF are so helpful. Like, they don't just say have enough money,
Yeah.
They give you actual amounts based on, your family size and how long you're staying that you need to prove you have access to. We're talking rent, groceries, transportation, all that good stuff, basically. Surviving, hopefully thriving, for at least 6 months.
You got to show them you're financially fit to, handle life in the UK and not just popping over for a quick holiday.
Yes. It's about showing you're serious, that you're coming to build a life, not just rely on public funds from day one. And it's actually pretty common, in a lot of countries' immigration systems.
Makes sense. You wouldn't want to land in a new country totally unprepared. Okay, so we've covered the money side of things, which, let's be real, it's a biggie.
Huge.
But we also can't forget about this mountain of paperwork. This PDF it mentions, everything but the kitchen sink. Passports, proof of address, financial records, even a TB test certificate.
It's thorough, that's for sure.
Is there anything they haven't thought of?
Well, they've definitely covered their bases. It's all about, painting a clear picture. You got to back up every single thing you say in your application. But my advice, pay really close attention to those specific requirements they lay out for, your particular situation.
Oh, yeah.
Because, applying from within the UK, totally different set of rules than applying from outside. It's all in the document, so don't skim.
Read the fine print. Knowledge is power.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so let's say you've done it all, jumped through all the hoops, gathered your documents, hit that submit button. What's next? How long till you're sipping tea in your new UK flat?
Okay, well, before you pack your teacups, you're going to need a healthy dose of patience because the document, it very clearly states a standard processing time of 12 weeks.
12 weeks. That's what, like 3 months?
Yeah, which, let's be honest, can feel like a lifetime when you're waiting for, a life-changing decision.
Especially with those moving boxes like piled up in the corner, just staring you down every day.
Exactly. And, 12 weeks is just the starting point.
Oh no. Don't tell me there's more.
We got to factor in potential delays.
Mm.
And let's be honest, those are almost guaranteed with, like, any government process, right?
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Could be anything from, oops, we need some more documents to please schedule an interview. So
Oh.
my advice, go in with patience, a lot of it, and maybe use that waiting time to really research, like, life in the UK.
Consider it a crash course in all things British.
Exactly.
Okay, so fast forward. We've all been there. You're anxiously checking your inbox, and bam, that golden email arrives. Your visa, it's approved. You did it.
Ooh, congratulations.
So that's it, right? You're all set for life in the UK.
Hold on. We're not quite done yet. See, this is where the B&O visa really gets interesting. It's not just a one-time ticket to the UK. It's like a potential pathway to a whole new life for you, maybe even for your kids and their kids.
Whoa. We're talking about putting down roots.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And the document, it actually gives you like a roadmap for those longer-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
You got to live in the UK for a certain number of years, you got to prove you know English, and you got to pass this thing called the Life in the UK test.
Life in the UK test. What's that all about? Sounds intense.
Oh yeah, it's all about British culture, history, the whole shebang.
Sounds like we need a whole other deep dive on just that.
We could totally do that.
Another time, maybe.
Definitely. But the point is, the B&O visa is an amazing opportunity, but it's really just the first page in, like a whole new chapter.
A chapter full of exciting possibilities. And on that note, for anyone listening, you've got that gov.uk PDF in your hands, you're feeling that mix of excitement, maybe a little overwhelmed. Just remember, you're not alone. This document, it's just the beginning. There's a ton of resources out there, support networks, online communities, you name it. They're all there to help you navigate this whole journey.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask questions. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be to, like, really embrace this adventure that's waiting for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This B&O deep dive, it's a wrap. But your journey, it's just getting started. So good luck out there. And remember, a good cup of tea solves everything.